So you've been described as a quote-unquote meta cuck by your friends, and you want to prove to them that you're actually good at the game. You don't need a meta build because you're good and you're a Giga Chad. But you don't know where to start. Well, here's where you start. Some off-meta league starters. Most of these should be pretty decent. I have it split into two sides, so there's a less risky side, which I highly recommend going for. And then there's also a more risky side, less risky. And yeah, so red, big risk, green, pretty safe. So let's get started. Start with melee, just because melee is historically bad, especially to start with. Other than Bone Shatter, but they'll not be on the list because this is an off-meta Giga Chad list. Alright. Now, you might argue that some of these aren't actually off-meta, but I think they are. Physical, alright, let's start. Melee, physical or elemental. Physical, slams. Your best start for physical melee is probably going to be slams, so then you're going to want to go Earth Shatter Berserker. You can get this from Ben. He has a YouTube video and there's a PoE. It does have a Mage Blood in it, but honestly, if you just take the Mage Blood off, it's still fine. I did a little test of it and I got to like level 80 and it was pretty good. So, and it's getting buffed next league, so it should be even better. So no, if you don't want to play slams and you're a cuck, you got an option here. Are you angry? Oh shit, I don't want to spoil that. Spoil the top builds. Are you angry? Yes. Rage Vortex Berserker. That's probably your next best option after Earth Shatter Berserker is Rage Vortex Berserker. Some might say this is not really melee because you're throwing a big spinning thing, but it has a melee tag on it, so it's included as melee. Whether I think it's melee is debatable, but alright. No, you're not angry. Nostalgia. If you yes, you don't feel like the good old days when you're playing Cyclone, you go Shockwave Cyclone Slayer. If you're not feeling nostalgic, you can go Perforate Slayer or Impale Champ, or maybe Poison Pathfinder. It's probably decent. I think Perforate is an overlooked skill. It's not great, but it's not terrible. So that's it for melee. All right, ranged attacks. Are you going to use a bow? Start with yes. Yes, you have elemental or fizz. Elemental is definitely the better option. You can go Raider or Champion for Rain of Arrows. Fuzzy Duxie has a guide for that. If you want to go physical, you can go Bleed Bow Glad. Jung has a bait video for that. You can check that out. I actually don't think it's that bad. You're just gonna be squishy. But the damage did look pretty good, so the downside is that you have to channel snipe. So you do kind of have to be aware of your positioning on this build. So your no bows. We're gonna go to no bows. Start with elemental. How hipster do you want to be? If you want to be very hipster, Ellie hit Wander Deadeye. Garotha played this recently on one of the events. It actually looked pretty decent to get started with. It wasn't great, but it was better than I was expecting. So hopefully he hasn't deleted that character and you can look at his profile or his recent Twitch VODs. And then not very hipster. This is like known to be pretty good. Would be Spectral Throw Deadeye. Garotha's also done this. This is definitely the better of the two. Alright, so no bow, no elemental. So we go to physical. We got Splitting Steel Champ. This might actually end up being meta next league, but as of right now, I wouldn't consider it meta. But its single target is going to definitely be insane. The issue will be it's clear. Don't really know what that'll be. As of right now in the game, the clear is like okay, but it relies on Call of Steel. Next league, there won't be Call of Steel on it, and I don't really know how it's going to go for the clear on that. So it might be better. Might not be. I don't know. Chaos. We got Cobra Lash. I'm not sure what ascendancy. You'd probably go Deadeye or Pathfinder. This is buffed this league, so it should be better. And I think it was already okay as a starter. I think Mathel's done it a few times. I think he likes that skill. So that should be pretty decent if you don't play that. Decent for off meta, I mean. It's not going to compare to meta skills. It's an off meta skill, so. But Selfcast. Oh, into spells. Selfcast. Elemental. Do you want to use 2 buttons? I'll start with yes, just because you probably don't, so I'll get those out of the way. If you do, though, you got 2 options. You have fire or lightning. I think lightning is the better option here, going lightning conduit, either elementalist or trickster. Elementalist is probably the smoother start, but trickster is probably better scaling into endgame, just for the fact you won't be made of paper, but both are decent options. For me, I would probably choose elementalist, just for ease of access to big shocks and stuff, which will be big damage. And it's smooth for gearing into maps. So fire would be volatile dead trickster, or maybe another ascendancy. I don't really know the state of this. I haven't played it in a while. It didn't receive any significant buffs as far as I know this league, as opposed to lightning conduit, which was already decent and received even more damage. Pretty significant damage too. So not 2 buttons. You feeling nostalgic? Yes. How nostalgic? Very. We'll go Ignite Arc Elementalist. Now, well, Ignite Arc isn't very nostalgic, but Arc itself is, so it's close enough, right? And then we got a little nostalgic, so not as far back, but still a kind of nostalgic build at this point. Divine Ire Ignite Elementalist. Divine Ire used to be pretty popular, and it's dropped off a lot in the last few years, so. And that is getting buffed this league, so it should be pretty decent. Alright, so you're not feeling nostalgic. More risk or less risk? More risk. We got Crackling Lance, Trickster, or Inquisitor. I'm not sure which would be better. I'm leaning towards Inquisitor, but. So the problem with Crackling Lance, I think, is it has wonky targeting. I think people have mentioned like a targeting issue on it too, and its clear is kind of weird, but it's receiving a pretty significant damage buff, so it should be pretty good. Single target wise at least, and okay clear, I'd say. So less risk. Armor Brand Hierophant. With Recall. I don't even know if this would be. I mean, I think it's pretty off meta. Only Jungron plays it, so this is pretty good though. Especially for just blasting straight into maps. I don't think it scales super well without gear into like late endgame, but what you could do, you could like transfer or transition from this into like Rat Pith or whatever, and that should scale better into the end game. Alright, so that's Elemental. Selfcast Fizz. You want 2 buttons? Yes. You can go Blade Blast, Poison, Pathfinder, or Occultist. Pathfinder if you want a tankier and more well-rounded option. Occultist if you want something swishier but has really smooth mapping and doesn't have as many issues early with like clearing, because the Pathfinder can be kind of scuffed on clearing early. So hell no to 2 buttons. Poison, Blade Vortex, Pathfinder. I am heavily considering league starting this. It seems pretty good. It got a quality buff, which is pretty good. I think it was already pretty good. It's probably going to be a lot smoother to play than Blade Blast early as well. So I would definitely recommend that. I'll probably release a guide on this. Alright, so not self-cast spells. Do you hate yourself? Yes. RF Jug. Now you might be like, why is RF Jug on this list? This is meta. Well, I mean, it's going to be really, really rough next league. So it's definitely, unless like a ton of people don't get the memo, or something changes after I release this and like different info comes out or something, it's going to be really rough and you really shouldn't play this. Like, really don't play it. It will not be good. So yeah, I really wouldn't recommend this. I shouldn't even put this on here, but yeah. Okay, so no, you don't hit yourself. Go up to traps. You got two options. You can either go the not Ventura route or the Ventura route. So you go explosive trap Sabo. I got a little bit of a pretty good buff with the quality change. You get 2 more explosions. But the downside is the clear on explosive trap is pretty painful. Ventura would be seismic trap. Check out the seismic Bible. It's probably a little outdated at this point. Now with seismic trap, you go either assassin or pathfinder. Assassin for way more damage. Pathfinder for more well-rounded and tanky. Also, disclaimer with traps and mines. I do not know how they'll feel with the quality changes and losing trap speed innate to the gem, but let's see. Mines, Blazing Salvo, Deadeye. This build is like pretty underdog build. I've seen Slade just played it like so many times, I think. In fact, I think if you look up his profile, I think like every single character is his build. But not many people play it, and it is pretty decent. Totems. You can go lightning or cold. Lightning, you got better or worse. I'd recommend the better because it's better. Stormburst, Totem Hierophant. It was probably already the best totem skill as far as I know. For starting anyways. And it got a significant buff with its quality change. Got 0.4 more seconds to its duration, which is pretty big for it. The worst option is Divine Ire Totem Hierophant. So cold totems will be Freezing Pulse / Ice Spear Hierophant. Now, minions. How often do you want to get shotgun and die? Yes, you go Zoomancer, Necro, or Guardian. Get that from Gazzy. How much of an issue this really is. If you're playing softcore, it's fine. You probably won't even notice it when it happens every once in a while. But if you are going to go hardcore, it will be noticeable when that happens one time and then you're dead because you only got one chance. So I wouldn't really recommend this for hardcore. In the past, minion builds, when they weren't like this build just has like every minion. There's like 45 minions around you at all times. In the past with minion builds, shotgunning you has been an issue. Shotgunning is like when, say, an enemy releases an AoE projectile that explodes on hit. So if there's like 10 minions around you, it will explode all around those 10 minions and you'll get hit like 10 extra times and you just like fall over. So this was an issue historically on minion builds, and I cannot imagine it is any better now. I really don't know because I haven't played minions in so long, but the game's just gotten more crazy, and having 45 minions around you, I imagine you will die to that at some point or eventually. If you want that less likely to happen, Absolution Guardian. Now, you could say that's maybe not off meta, but there's really no other option for the less risky side. I think that is it for the less risky side. And the more risk side, start with melee again. I don't recommend these. I really don't. These are definitely potentially league start ruining. I don't think anything on the green side could ruin your league start. But on the red side, it definitely can. So melee. Physical. Actually, this probably shouldn't be. Oh, you want a seizure? Yes. Then Flicker Strike Slayer. I'm actually not sure if that stays physical. I think it does. Like, I think when you start Flicker Strike, you go like Terminus Est. And I think that is physical. You could also go elemental version, but well, either way, it's not. Do not play Flicker. Do not fall for it again for the 5th league in a row and say, "Wow, this sucks." Do not fall for it. No seizure. How little damage do you want to do? Very tiny, Shield Crush Jug or Glad, or do you want to go regular tiny? You can go for Sunder Berserker. Elemental melee. Want to die and do no damage? Yeah, then you can go any Frostblades build. You can get that 2.9k HP and do 1,000,000 damage. And just die every map. Then until you get 100 divines in the build. Only a little. You can go Molten Strike Raider. This is probably okay. Chaos Melee. You can go Quinn. Viper Strike Melee. Viper Strike Pathfinder. I have no idea what this is. Would not recommend it. Meatballs. This build was actually good last league. Poison Molten Strike Pathfinder. Champ is also an option, but Returning Projectiles got a really big nerf for ailments, so you also can't start as poison. Like, make that clear. You'd have to start as like something else, probably Poison Concoction, until you can get the high stagger. But with the Returning Projectiles nerf, I think, I mean, it should still be playable, but it's not going to be good. Ranged attacks. You're going to use a bow. Let's start with no. You can go for like Power Siphon for your clearing skill, and then use Barrage for your single target. Not Power Siphon Barrage, because you won't do that anymore. That used to be a thing, but I forget exactly what they changed, but I think like you just don't want to barrage it anymore. So use like the actual skill Barrage for single target on a Wander Deadeye. I really have no idea for this. I think I've seen like one POB for it, and I don't know anything. I think someone said it was okay, but that one's pretty risky. Yes, a bow. Cool meter for the bow. 0% cool meter. You got Burning Arrow, Elementalist. With the new Transfigure Gem, I don't know what it's going to be. I think the regular might just be better. 50% cool meter. Got Ice Shot Deadeye. 100% cool meter. Ellie Hit Deadeye. I also think this is probably the best of the three. I think this one's definitely worst. Best. Probably middle ground. Spells. You want a new spell? No, it's not a new spell, but it was reworked. Got Penance Brand Hierophant. You want an old spell. Fresh Nerf. Cold Dot Elementalist. I wouldn't play this. They made Vortex not instant. That's going to feel really bad. Like, the only reason I really would consider playing Cold Dot before is because Vortex was instant. You just have a left click. You can't do that anymore. Would not recommend that. Selfcast. Will you sacrifice clear for single target? Yes, if you're okay with that. Deadeye Ice Spear. I think Mathel's done this a few times. It is pretty good. You get really good single target. But it can be a little clunky early. Or even late. Because if you stand too close to enemies, your Ice Spear just will not go into its second phase, which does not feel good. No, you don't want to sacrifice it. Blazing Salvo and Quiz. Now your damage might be pretty bad early, but this build does scale pretty well in endgame. Minions. How much pain can you tolerate? Let's start with a lot. Going pure Spectres. The new Affliction Hydra Spectre seems really neat. Or any of the new things might be cool. But the downside is your Spectre will die. Now, the upside of this, if you're in Trade League, you can trade for the corpses and just buy them from other people. Otherwise, you're gonna have to hunt for them from the NPC to buy it in Affliction. But it should be pretty cool. So cool meter high, but pain meter also high. Moderate pain meter. You go anime weapon, guardian / necro. I think you could go either poison or non-poison for this. The downside is you have to summon a bunch of weapons every map, and they also die pretty frequently early, so you have to keep resummoning them throughout the map, but it's pretty good damage if they can stay alive. Not so much pain. You get Dom Blow Guardian, which is decent. On the verge of meta and not meta, probably. Pretty common build, I think. Alright, so I made a little thing down here for the top options for each thing. Hey, get that out of here. Gamersubs.gg/Lily. Bye now. Unscripted. That just happened. That was my Twitch alert. Anyways. Melee. Number 1 melee skill is to do not play melee. The number 2. Hey, did I skip this? I don't remember talking about this. Oh well. Number 2 is Glacial Hammer Jug. It's a little nerfed this league, but it should still be okay, and it's probably the second best melee behind Bone Shatter, because it's essentially still Bone Shatter, just worse. Then 3, Rage Vortex Berserker. And then 4, Shockwave Cyclone. Oh, that should not be Shockwave Cyclone anymore. Oh god. Hold on. Oh. Wait, what? Oh. Wait, what is that? That's crazy. I didn't know MS Paint could do that. That's a weird feature. Yeah, so this should be Earth Shatter Berserker. This would probably be actually like right there, but I'm too lazy and not gonna rearrange it right now. But Earth, I'll just. The reason I didn't have it on there is because they added you get like an extra spike with the quality, but they didn't actually up the spike limit. But now they fixed it, so that should be a pretty good buff. So that's why I didn't have it there. But anyways, yeah, that's melee. So all of them are pretty close, I'd say. Glacial Hammer if you don't want to die. Rage Vortex for damage. Shockwave Cyclone for yeah. Alright, so for ranged attacks, we got Rain of Arrows, Raider / Champ. I think is definitely probably the safest bet on this list for range attacks. And then Splitting Steel Champ. This one's kind of risky, but it could end up paying off because it should have insane single target. So I'd recommend that if you want to do like bosses or something. Spectral Throw, Deadeye for number 3. It's pretty safe all around. So Rain of Arrows for clear. Splitting Steel for the best single target. Spectral Throw for like a mixture of clear and single target. And nostalgia points. Alright, spells. Got Blade Blast, Pathfinder's Edge of Cultist. I also put or Blade Vortex. Either if you want a 1-button or 2-button build, it's up to you. Blade Blast will have more damage pretty much no matter what, but Blade Blast has more damage. Blade Vortex has more ease, clear, whatever. Blazing Salvo Mines, Deadeye. This build is actually like good. It has decent clear and good single target. Can be a little eye cancer though. Armor Brand, Recall, Hyro. Pretty safe bet, especially for early on. Stormburst, Totem Hyro is also a safe bet, especially early on. Pretty good. So Blade Blast is the highest damage clear ratio, but it is a 2-button build. Blazing Salvo is good all around. Armor Brand is also decent, pretty much all around. I think its single target might be meh, but it is really fast early. Then Stormburst is slow clear, but good single target because it's Totem. If you want to go Sanctum, this is pretty good. Minions. Number one's Absolution Guardian, I'd say. Followed probably pretty closely by Zoomancer. Just this shotgunning thing worries me. And it's also very screen cluttery. And then number 3, Domblow Guardian. These are all close enough together and similar. They're all minion builds. It's pretty much all preference here. And that is the flowchart.